Hi, I'm Cheryl Jones. I'm the director of Grand Union. I'm a white woman with dark blonde bobbed hair, a black t-shirt and tortoiseshell hoop earrings, and my pronouns are she, her. Grand Union is a charity that houses a gallery and artist studios in Birmingham. We've been increasingly working beyond gallery with a range of partners from different sectors. And in 2018, we initiated a collaborative programme led by curator Jo Capper, who we'll meet in a moment. The aim of this work is to really think about and demonstrate how arts and culture can be a useful tool in building connections between people and communities, and how it can then enable us together to have more agency in how our city is developed around us. I'm really proud and excited to be chairing this Q&A session with some of the brilliant people who've been key in creating the project and the film that we're really happy to be launching today. So I don't know if I could just ask each one of you to introduce yourself and tell us about your role in the project and to audio describe yourself, please. Shall we start with Jo?
Hi, I'm Jo Capper. I'm the collaborative programme curator at Grand Union, and I guess I sort of initiated the project. I'm a white woman, I wear glasses, I have long light brown hair plaited to one side, I've got a black t-shirt on, and my pronouns are she, her.
Thank you. If we go to Carolyn.
Hi, I'm Carolyn. I'm an artist gardener on the project. I wear glasses, I've got grey hair, I'm a woman with a black dress on, and my pronouns are she, her.
Thank you. And Kieran, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name's Kieran. I'm a volunteer at the Growing Project. I'm a white man wearing a black t-shirt, and my pronouns are he and him.
Lovely, thank you. Alice, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, I'm Alice Fowler. I'm a gardener and friend of the project. I'm a white woman with red hair, glasses, and I'm wearing a blue dress. And my pronouns are she, her.
Okay, thanks. Matt, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Matt. I'm a garden facilitator on the project. I am a white male with short hair, wearing a white t-shirt.
Thank you. And Kirsty.
Hi, I'm Kirsty. I'm the artist chef, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am a white woman with a brown bob and glasses and a blue shirt on.
Lovely, thank you. So my first question is for Jo, and I wanted to know how the idea of the Growing Project came about.
Okay, so I think it was like a direct response to the visible effects of homelessness in the city. I think I sort of really saw that set within the backdrop of a city that was so focused on developing its consumer shopping habits. And I guess I was really deeply saddened by seeing too many people avoid eye contact and walk past people in need. And I really felt that I could create a structure that could better utilise art's power, not just to, I suppose, stick a decorative plaster on or to cover up a wound, but to really sort of think about how we could deeply connect people with nature as a healing tool. I knew that I could find a way to literally transform people's experiences, and whilst helping them to care for nature, that nature would start to care for them, and that would have a real positive ripple effect, which I guess in turn would then start to transform people and place and sort of change the dynamics of our city.
Thanks, Jo. I think we'll see that does happen in the film. Carolyn, I was wondering if I could ask you how you became involved in the Growing Project.
It was really through a chance encounter with Jo. We were at an event and hadn't seen each other for a long time, and just chatting in the course of conversation what we've been up to and talking about projects we were involved in. And I had just got an allotment and was enthusing about growing vegetables and plants, and from that really we picked up on that conversation a few months later as the project started to develop, and yeah, took it from there.
Thank you. And Kirsty, could you tell us what your favourite part of being on the Growing Project has been?
Yeah, so I think when I think about the Growing Project, my favourite thing that's happened so far through the Growing Project has to be the dinner that we had at the end of the first year, when we started growing and had the new space at St Anne's, and we're trying to figure stuff out, trying to see if people were going to be interested in growing things with us and cooking. And then at the end, it just felt like this huge celebration of bringing people together. So around the table, we had the residents from St Anne's, we had a women's group from SIFA, and we had city planners, we had the mayor, we had different charities around Birmingham that work with the vulnerably housed, and it was just a really amazing dinner to use all the produce that we've grown, and have the residents and participants help. Kieran helped in the kitchen as well, the whiz chef that he is. And yeah, it was just really amazing. So with the dinner, we'd all made these plates with SIFA and modern clay. And so all the plates were handmade, and the serving bowls. And I think there was just something really nice about having these serving bowls and platters that, you know, as Joe said, you know, these people that are often ignored, overlooked within our society, and our, you know, sharing dinner and sharing from the exact same bowl and plate of food, with the mayor, which I think is pretty amazing, and with the developers within the city, so that they can like take hold of their own city and their place within the community. I think that was really amazing. But now we're working on pickles and ferments and things for the future, and thinking about how to equip residents and participants with the knowledge that they can use when they're moving on from the hostels that they find themselves in at the moment into a more stable setting, and so that they can have their own stability and be able to look after themselves and their health and well-being, in a nutshell.
The Harvest Dinner was definitely a really powerful event. I was really proud to be there and experience it. Matt, can I ask you how you think the Growing Project has nurtured you, both professionally and personally?
Yeah, I think professionally speaking, I'm relatively new to gardening. This is the first job I've ever had in gardening. So it's been a really sort of steep learning curve in a lot of ways, but it's really been an amazing environment to learn in. I think not only with the actual horticultural side of it, but also working with so many different people, and people that I haven't worked with before, groups of people that I haven't worked with before, the vulnerably housed in particular. It's something I've always been passionate about, and like Joe said at the start, it's something that I've always seen as a huge problem, and one that's been growing in recent years. So to be able to work in that environment is amazing. I think from a personal perspective, the project really taught me to like slow down a little bit, and you know, not try and have things done straight away, and to really just enjoy letting nature sort of dictate how your day is going to go sometimes.
Thank you. That leads on really nicely to the next question that I have for Alice. And I want to ask you, what are the benefits you think are of connecting people to nature, and why that connection should be so significant at the moment?
Well, we evolved out of nature, and it's not an insignificant thing that it's hugely important to our well-being. It literally is how our bodies center themselves, as being out in a biodiverse, varied environment. So everybody has a right to nature, and that's a really important thing that is not in any way to be dismissed. It's really hugely significant to how we function, to be able to have that space. But that space needs to be somewhere where we feel relaxed and where we can actually engage. And that's why these projects like this one here is so important, because it's not just giving somebody a park. It's about giving somewhere a space where they can go and get involved and actually have physical contact with the nature in a good and positive way. And, you know, the pandemic has shown how important it has been for universally for people to get out and see nature. But it's really easy to overlook whole swathes of people who don't get easy access. And so anything that promotes people getting kind of good contact with nature is a huge benefit to all of us in society.
Thank you. And Jo, that leads on to my next question for you about what the benefits are of community-led, community-run initiatives, and what the potential, what is the potential that they hold for positive change?
I think for the last 20 years, working as an artist and a curator, that sort of that there's been a real pull for me to work in terms of in the context of community-led, and I think, you know, increasingly I know that we need to change the power dynamics of sort of, you know, the old top-down models are just not working. The disparity between rich and poor is widening, and you can just see more and more people suffering in that way, that context. Sorry. So I guess I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking about how communities, having built knowledge, and I sort of thought about this. This is like soil. This is it can regenerate itself if it's left alone and sort of given the necessary nutrients and resources, and it will adapt and it will renew itself in accordance with its context and needs, and this is the pure magic of sort of, you know, I guess the natural world, and I think at the moment soil is like people, we're all exhausted, and the times that we living in right now, we just have to create another way. So sort of, I guess for me, I feel like community-led or community-run initiatives is our only way forward in how we can sort of cooperate for a better world, if you like.
Yeah, I would totally agree, and that's such a beautiful analogy that you've just made to describe yeah, the way that our society should work, I believe. Kirsty, could I ask you what has been the benefit of you working collaboratively with different types of people on this project?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this question, and the question being, what's the benefit been to me? And I think that's where the question could be slightly different, and it's not about me. It's about the participants. It's about the residents. It's about the people who are growing in the site, and the beauty of bringing all these different people together, bringing the artists with the vulnerably housed, with the city planners, and bringing them all together is something that's so powerful. Having, you know, giving a voice or having voice from a community that's so often ignored, so often pushed to the side, so often a second thought, if a thought at all. So really, to bring it together can mean that it can bring all these people together, can mean it can be the most rewarding and impactful project. Working collaboratively is so important, that we're not coming in for the Growing Project and delivering a service and then leaving and leaving a hole where we once were, or a void where we once were, but working collaboratively so that the project can live on, so that we can equip people who take part of it with skills, or just with the ability to socialize with loads of people from a broad range of community, and to just have that social input. You know, you can come and have a cup of tea with us. You don't have to garden or chef, and I think that's really beautiful as well, is just to have that sense of normality. And I think bringing all these people together can only strengthen and help raise awareness of the issues and the problems that we're having at the moment with our housing crisis and the vulnerably housed, and think about getting as many people in to really think about it and to tackle these problems. yeah, people have different approaches and different thoughts of how we can tackle this as a collective, as a society, I guess. Maybe that was a bit big, I don't know.
I think that's perfect. So I think it's only through bringing different types of people together that will come up with new solutions.
Exactly.
Kieran, can I ask you how being involved in the project has changed or built your relationship with gardening and with growing and with nature?
Yeah. I think for me, it's changed my understanding of the therapeutic power of nature and gardening. When I first joined Grand Union, I was referred by a crisis. I just come out of a treatment centre and I was technically homeless. So I was aware from a very early stage that gardening and nature had therapeutic values for me and my recovery, and I kind of wanted to share that with others. So when I found out that the Growing Project was going on, it was a no-brainer really, and I got involved. But since working with them, I realised that it's more than just the therapeutic; it's the social, and the community, and the levelling nature of it for people. So, I've made some work with people that I would never have come across in my everyday life. I've gained some very good friendships as a result of it. So I think overall it's changed my understanding of gardening and the power that gardening has for bringing people together. It's a bit like the name of the project, the Growing Project. It's not just about growing vegetables and plants. It's about allowing people to grow, communities to grow, and we can grow together doing it. So it's definitely changed how I perceive it, for sure.
Again, that's a really lovely way of describing the power of the project, I think. And I think we've all learned so much and found some new connections that have meant a lot to all of us. I just wanted to finish off by asking you all to answer individually what you would like the Growing Project to look like in the future. Maybe if we start with you, Jo.
I really need to avoid saying grow. But I guess sort of, I talked about the ripple effect, and I sort of, we're initiating it, and we're sort of showing those acts of care and how we can better to relate to each other and connect with each other. And I guess that I'd like to see those connections coming back into the project, so that sort of, the ripples can go out. And I guess all of the gardens and the hostels that we're working with are located in different communities, and I'd really like to see those communities sort of start to sort of connect and share and sort of help support others. But of course, let's create more gardens, let's help more people.
Thank you. If I could ask you to answer, Carolyn.
Yeah, I thought a bit more grander scale, maybe. I was thinking of all those, we're in a really urban city, big urban city, and you see the creep of regeneration. And I was thinking about how all those neglected spaces can nurture wild plants, how they kind of become overlooked and they thrive in that overlooked space. They're disappearing, and it, like the Growing Project, if it could be creating these abundant green spaces that were networked in some way, so that you could be anywhere in the city and you could find these spaces full of rich habitats and crops growing, and that would be my dream. That would be my dream.
It's a great dream. Thank you. And Kieran, could you answer the question, please?
Yeah, sure. I think I'd like to see the project grow, but via the volunteers. Maybe, once they've had a bit of time working within the project, then they could start up their own smaller growing projects, and then, like Jo said, have a pay it forward kind of effect. So from what we have now, we could potentially sort of 5-10 years down the line have dozens of projects, which in turn could create further dozens of projects, and so on until we have growing projects potentially across the world, maybe across the country, but across the world would be great.
Across the world, for definite, be amazing. Alice, would you mind answering?
I think space is such a huge thing for projects like this. It's an obvious thing to say, but I would like it to be in a place where planning really understands that these kind of projects are actually from the beginning are given space rather than having to fight for it, because they are essential. And so I hope there's a future where it's a given in planning that you leave space for people and nature.
Thank you. And Matt, could you answer, please?
Yeah, I think just going off what Alice just said then, I think it's really important that we use this as an opportunity to take back control of some of these spaces that are at risk of being lost from our communities. And I think the Growing Project is really great at breaking down these barriers between different community groups that might not normally mix together. And I think it's really important that the project moves out of some of the hostels in a way as well, and moves into the public realm a little bit more, so that people can see it and be part of it, and feel the benefits of it, even if they didn't think that they needed to feel the benefits of it.
Yeah, thank you. And Kirsty, could you answer, please?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to come from a lot of what I was thinking. People have already said, but I guess thinking about from a food angle, thinking about these city spaces that we're in, and thinking about food deserts, and thinking about these spaces where it's so hard in the city centre to get cheap veg that's like where it's sort of come from, and that it's grown locally as well, thinking about environmentally, but to take over these spaces in throughout the city and to spread it like other people have said, but to sort of tackle these food deserts and to allow people access to fresh vegetables and fruit, and to have not only to access it, but also be able to grow it themselves, and grow it as a community, and have it, have people within the community come to that space to pick up their veg for the week, and to go, and no matter who you are, and to equip people with the knowledge of how to use that fresh veg as well. I think that's what I think.
That's brilliant. Thank you all so much for such inspiring answers, and hopefully that's given everybody some insight into the ideas and themes of the film. I know that Jo wanted to make a few final comments, so I'll hand over to you, Jo.
Thanks. Thanks, Cheryl, for hosting so efficiently. I guess I just really wanted to sort of make some final thank yous. And firstly, just to really acknowledge and thank so deeply Seema and her brilliance in direction and putting together a narrative around this project, which always is really difficult to articulate the depths of what the project is doing, both on an individual level, but in terms of the potential of its effect in the city. I'd like to acknowledge and thanks the space for giving us the funding and the opportunity to develop the project and to hopefully reach further people with the story. I guess the organisation St Anne's Hostel and Spring Housing, who are accommodating the project in their gardens across the city. I'd really like to acknowledge Richard Price from Crisis Skylight Birmingham, who sort of really helped us to develop the pilot project and sort of connected us and found a way to sort of work with organisations across the city who are supporting vulnerable people and people who are experiencing homelessness. And that was really crucial because they're doing an amazing job despite like sort of going against the tide of sort of decreasing resources. And I feel that we're adding something to that. Who else can I thank? Bruntwood Works for sort of supporting us as a charity over the next few years and really bringing some additional resources to the project. And I guess I couldn't name everybody, but really to thank everybody who's participated in helping us create this project. You know, from people who've like sort of shoveled in lots of soil, people who've like washed plates after the dinner at the harvest dinner, to people who just sort of are actively supporting and sharing what we're doing. No, I thank you so deeply from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.